points on the lesson. Live in the hills, but it still get a spread. Started with a live, but it still reinvest it. Fear how I feel, then you feel it's a blessing. I just want the lesson, I just want protection. I'm up and I'm down, but the sound like progression. Farmer never plans if he waits for perfection. Finger to the down.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I am not messing with you on this one. TD Ameritrade has banned commodities future trading. Now, that sounds aggressive, but this is what they have done. Wheat futures and any weekly call options on oil or any futures, they are set to closing only. So if you remember GameStop, how did that play out? Well, you couldn't buy it, but you were allowed to sell it. They are doing the same thing now with commodities. So we have a lot to talk about. I'm going to talk about what happened in the market today. We are going to talk about commodities, sanctions, and then consumers. You will learn something. It will explain some of the moves that you saw today. And then we're going to talk about this goofy here it is, chat. I'm not going to wear this the whole video, but you see it? It's weird, bro. It's just like, okay. Hold up. Jump cut. Okay, I'm sorry. I know if you're watching this for the first time, you probably think I'm a weirdo, but you're going to learn something. And if you don't know, we are live Monday through Friday, 30 minutes before open, youtube.com/thestockmarket, baby. We will see you there. But this is real, and it relates to a commodities play. Again, the TD Ameritrade, how this happened today. I was literally trying to buy a wheat future. I ended up buying 1,000 shares of wheat instead, but I was trying to buy the wheat future, and it wouldn't let me. It does not be, I thought it was margin or something. Remember, I've been setting this up. I even got money in there. I was waiting for it, but then it said I couldn't open it. I was able to open an order on corn, but then I was like, wait, what's going on? So I reached out to them, and they said firm-wide, trading-wise, they are not letting anybody open up any wheat plays, and they are not allowing any weekly plays on any of the crude oil plays. So I thought this was interesting, but now this is related to the first thing here with commodities. Yes, I grabbed 1,000 shares of wheat today at like 10:22. Remember, I said I wanted to get back in here around 10. We waited long enough, but what I'm doing is gambling. You need to understand that. Why? Tomorrow at 9 a.m. Pacific time, you are going to get the WASDE report, and this is going to outline the amount of commodities and planting and stocks all and everywhere. United States, globally, and then they even focus on Argentina and Brazil. So this is why I got the play. I'm pretty much thinking after this event, we're going to get a lot of volatility. I'm assuming it'll be tilted to the upside, but we got a lot of other data surprises today, and well, you know, that's not how everything played out. So we will see. That's a big risk, but again, tomorrow with commodities, this is going to be something to watch, but I don't know if it's tinfoil, but with TD Ameritrade, you know, trying to lower their risk across the board and not allowing it, I think it's saying something, man. So we will see what happens with that. That's the first thing, commodities. Next thing, sanctions. This wasn't the only thing that happened today, but it did help explain some of the story. We did hear from Bullard in the morning, and believe it or not, he is usually the most hawkish dude out there. It didn't really have an effect. He said that he favors 3 or 3.25 for rates. That's like 10 or 12 rate hikes from here, even higher than what the market's pricing in. He acknowledged what the market was already pricing in, but then you had Raphael Bostic and then Charlie Evans there. Charlie or Charles? I don't know. But shout out Charlie, baby. But he was on there, and they were both talking, and they pretty much said the opposite of what he did. So there's been a lot of narrative about the Fed, and today was the digestion. I think we're going to see more of it. But now, why do the sanctions matter? Because right here, this is when we announced this news right here. We said, and that's the United States as we said that we are voting to suspend the Russia trade status and then enact an oil ban on all energy imports from Russia. So ever since then, the market started ripping up, and then back to back to back, we started getting more news. But this is where it's important. If you remember this video, oil is distorting the stock market. I don't know if you were watching on stream or if you watched the video. If you remember that day, it was something like what we saw here today, and now I'm starting to think oil is distorting the market. So if you don't understand that, pretty much after the sanction news came out, think about it, you're banning Russian oil and Russian energy. You would assume it would be good for our companies. Well, it was, and all of the U.S. energy, materials, and industrials, they started going up and up and up, but they were down in red all day with everything else. Most of the day, only healthcare and consumer staples, the safe haven and dividend stocks, we're going to talk about that. Those were the only things that were doing good. And then after this news, oil and energy started going up. Then the chip makers started playing along, and then tech, and then it brings us to the final point, the consumer. Okay, I got ahead of myself. I just thought it was a good segue, but still, okay, because still on commodities, and if you want to understand why oil even dropped a lot more today, we got more updates from the IEA. Here's the chart. This is all of the additional oil beyond the reserves that we announced just last week that the rest of the world will be releasing. So 120 million just from that. It now brings the totals to 240 million. Literally, they are throwing the kitchen sink at oil right now, and that's why we're finally getting some down days. So you even saw Brent, it dropped below 100 today. So watch that 95.90 level, okay? But now this is where we get to the consumers, because right here a little bit towards the top, or right when it set us off the next leg, I think it was right above that 448, the highs of yesterday, this was the consumer credit. This came in at 41 billion. The estimate was 18 billion. And you can see from this chart, this was a statistical anomaly. Not one person in the world was expecting it to be this high. There was one person kind of close there at 33 billion, but for the most part, it was not expected to be this good. And the market started ripping. Why? Because consumer health is important. And we talked about this today. You're like, wait a minute, why would people getting more credit card debt, why would that be good? Well, it just shows people are still spending money. That means companies got that money. And just take a look, the expectations were very low with all the inflation, war, you name it, whatever's on the list. You would have assumed things would have slowed down. You can argue that prices are high and people have to spend the money, but the point is they are still spending it in big amounts, and that's good, because a lot of people were getting pessimistic about the consumer, and that's why you've been watching dividend stocks and utility stocks go through the roof. Again, most of the day, even the last couple days, you probably noticed Abivi, EXC, even Procter & Gamble, Pfizer, Walmart, all of these stocks, they're going through the roof. And then, I mean, just go through some of these names and just think about the industries and what they provide. These are the industries that people want, or the specific companies, when you're worried about the consumer. If you're worried about, okay, people are going to spend less, interest rates are going to go up, people may not be able to buy the same things, or I guess the discretionary items, as you would say, even the tech stocks are expecting less profits, all of that, there's some items that people aren't going to forego no matter what happens. Or if you're expecting inflation and a weak consumer, stuff like your medicine, again, Walmart's always cheap, you always going to get something from Walmart. Again, you could just go down the list. Utilities, you're still going to pay your light bill. This was very, very important. One, the data beat, and it was a statistical anomaly, but on top of it, it really eased some of the pressures, because what does the consumer have to do with? IYT and travel stocks. Remember, this is a warning indicator. So this thing is coming down right now. People are starting to worry because they're worried about consumers slowing down. That would affect those shipping companies because they're related to consumer activity, but also they have to pay for the higher energy costs. So tie this all in, and you can see why that kind of gave us some fuel. And over the next set of data releases, this type of stuff will be important. Watch the value plays moving forward. I think we're getting a little bit more of a signal. That's what I'm trying to tell you. If this trade holds up and you see people running to this, that is snitching. So keep that in mind, and we may very well just see it for the next few months. So let's see what happens. But besides that, there wasn't anything too crazy. I mean, Nancy Pelosi got COVID, and now they're saying that's the closest Biden has ever been to it. EU, they actually went through with the coal ban, a coal embargo, and now they said they're going to be approaching Russian oil in the next few days. So keep your eye out for the EWG. But other than that, there really wasn't anything crazy today. We already talked about the Fed, and that's what I'm waiting for next, is more interpretation until we see how everybody really feels. But the base thing you need to understand, a lot of people are really going to wait till May to react, because come May, let everything with the war play out. We'll see what happens with earnings and all of that. We'll see where the market is, but people are waiting. Is the Fed actually going to raise rates? If they do the double hike on May and they follow through, credibility is there. You will start watching people respond a little bit more to what the Fed futures are pricing in. So that's pretty much it as far as the plays. I grabbed 1,000 shares of wheat. Again, I am looking to play it longer term. I would prefer a future with more leverage, but I grabbed 1,000 shares. I wanted 2,000. Pretty much I'm going to wait till after the report, then we'll reassess. But that's a big thing I'm going to be looking at tomorrow. Still have an open corn trade. I made a play on HPQ. I only grabbed a $20 one today. The May $49 call is like 20 bucks there. Again, Buffett took like a $4 billion stake. And then we made a wow play. This was like a buyout news. We got it early. I did another quarter play on the August 35. So I spent 15 cents and then it went crazy. We'll see that one after hours. But other than that, just watching the EXC, I really like this. And then any of the other plays we're in, a lot of the country plays, they've actually done good. Those Brazils are still up 200%. The EWJ went up 50%. The Turkeys, they went up 60%. So we're watching and riding a lot of those. And then I also did an NTR as well. I did do an average down on that one. As far as that play, it barely moved, even though NTR went up a lot today. I grabbed one play, $120, NTR July 135 call, spent about 120 bucks on it. And remember, I had an old NTR, my MOS, that's up almost 100%, but the same NTR from the same day, those are down and it's kind of lagging. So if you didn't watch yesterday's video, go watch it. I may want to go for another one, but I think this is a good place to start. So we will see what happens. But very simple day. Again, it was very, very chill. I think tomorrow we may get a little bit of activity, but you know what to watch. Energy, commodities, and keep your eye out for anything around this consumer sentiment and how it's going to play out, or the consumer themselves and how investors are responding. That's all you're going to need. So I hope you're ready. But that is your watch list, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure hydrate healthy, ready to go. Make sure post your watch list. Make sure we see you there in the morning. I need the armor on. I need the helmet shining. I need you to remember, baby, all you got to do is water the tree. That's me watering. Right when I thought I was on a roll, I almost did it not awkward, and then the little invisible teapot water in there. I was trying to be motivational, man. Well, it's okay. I love you, Chad. Thanks for not making fun of me and my thing, and I love you all. Someone said this is like an Easter egg. I don't even know if it's... I'm going to just start like throwing in random... Hey, look it. Here's the horn. It broke it. It's dead now. Okay, I got to go. I love you.